Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have another interesting, mind-blowing Reddit story. So without wasting any time, let's start it. I've known Maya since we were 7 years old. We've shared everything: clothes, secrets, heartbreaks, and even a college dorm room. She's the person I call when I'm crying at 3 a.m., and she's the person who held my hair back on my 21st birthday. But last night, on her balcony over a bottle of cheap wine, I did the one thing that might have just ended 20 years of friendship in exactly 1 second. I kissed her, and the worst part? She didn't pull away immediately. My name is Qley, 27F. My life is, for the most part, incredibly standard. I work as an interior designer in Chicago. I have a long-term boyfriend named Mark, 29M, who I've been with for 4 years, and I have a social circle that revolves entirely around my best friend, Maya. Maya is the cool one. She's a freelance photographer, effortlessly beautiful, and has this magnetic energy that makes everyone in the room want to be near her. Mark likes her too. We go on double dates with Maya and whatever guy she's seeing that month, and it's always been easy. But lately, easy has started to feel like a lie. Over the last 6 months, things with Mark have been hitting a plateau. He's a great guy, stable, kind, and he wants to propose soon. I know he does because he's been discreetly asking my sister about ring sizes. But the passion? It's been gone for a while. We feel more like roommates who occasionally watch Netflix together. In contrast, my time with Maya has felt electric. We started hanging out more, just the two of us. We go to late-night diners, talk about our childhoods, and stay up until sunrise just listening to music. I told myself it was just because we were soulmate friends. I told myself that the way my stomach flipped when she laughed was just because I admired her. Last night was Maya's 28th birthday. We went out with a big group, but by 1 a.m., it was just the two of us back at her apartment. We were sitting on our tiny balcony, looking out at the city lights. We were both a little drunk, but not enough to blame what happened on the alcohol. We were talking about our futures. Maya was complaining about the guy she's been seeing, saying she never feels seen by him. "I just want someone who knows me," she whispered, looking at me. "The way you know me, Qley." She reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. Her hand lingered on my cheek. The silence between us became heavy, the kind of silence that vibrates. I should have moved. I should have made a joke about Mark, or asked if she had any more wine. But I didn't. I leaned in. It wasn't a long kiss. It was soft, hesitant, and tasted like red wine and desperation. For a heartbeat, I felt her lean into it. I felt her hand slide to the back of my neck. And then, as quickly as it started, she gasped and pulled back. Her eyes were wide, her breathing shallow. "Qley, what are you doing?" I don't know." I stammered, my heart racing so fast I felt dizzy. "I'm sorry, Maya. You have Mark," she said, her voice trembling. "We're best friends. We can't do this." I felt like someone had dumped a bucket of ice water over my head. The reality of my 4-year relationship with Mark flashed before my eyes. The reality of our friendship, our families being friends, our shared life. It all felt like it was crumbling. "I should go," I said, grabbing my purse. "Qley, wait." I didn't wait. I ran out of her apartment, took an Uber home, and sat on my living room floor in the dark for 3 hours. Mark was asleep in the bedroom, blissfully unaware that the girl he wanted to marry just blew up their life for a woman who might never speak to her again. I checked my phone this morning. One text from Maya, sent at 4 a.m. "Maya, we need to talk. I'm coming over at 10 a.m. Is Mark going to be there?" It's 9:45 a.m. Mark is in the kitchen making pancakes, humming a song, and asking me if I want to go to the hardware store with him later to look at paint swatches for the future nursery. My hands are shaking. If Maya walks through that door and the truth comes out, I lose everything. My boyfriend, my home, and my best friend. But the scariest part? When I closed my eyes last night, I didn't regret the kiss. I regretted that it stopped. There's a specific kind of torture in watching the person you're betraying be kind to you. Mark was standing at the stove, flipping blueberry pancakes, my favorite, and talking about the interest rates on a 30-year mortgage. He looked so safe, so solid, and all I could taste was Maya's lip gloss and the metallic tang of fear. Then the doorbell rang. It wasn't 10 a.m. yet. She was early. My heart did a slow, heavy roll in my chest. Mark dropped the spatula and wiped his hands on his apron, the one I bought him last Christmas that says Grill Master. "That's probably the Amazon delivery," he said, heading for the door. "I ordered those new running shoes." "Wait," I blurted out a little too loud. Mark stopped and looked at me, frowning. I think it's Maya. She texted me saying she might drop by to vent about her date last night." Mark grinned. "Classic Maya. Does she ever sleep? Tell her to come in. I'll make an extra stack." I watched him open the door. Maya was standing there, looking like she hadn't slept a minute. Her hair was in a messy bun, and she was wearing an oversized hoodie that I knew for a fact was one I'd left at her place months ago. "Hey Maya, happy birthday again, kid," Mark said, leaning in for a quick, brotherly hug. Maya stiffened. I saw it, even if Mark didn't. She looked over his shoulder, her eyes locking onto mine. There was no warmth in them. There was panic and something that looked dangerously like anger. "Hey Mark," she said, her voice sounding thin. "Sorry to crash. I need to talk to Qley about some photography stuff." "No worries at all. Qley's in the kitchen. Grab some coffee," Mark said, gesturing toward me like he was proud to show off his domestic bliss. Maya walked into the kitchen and sat at the island. Mark went back to the stove, whistling. The three of us were in a space no bigger than 200 square feet, and the air felt like it was charged with high-voltage electricity. Every time Mark's back was turned, Maya glared at me. Every time he turned around, she plastered on a fake, shaky smile. "So," Mark said, sliding a plate of pancakes in front of Maya, "how was the rest of the night? Qley said you guys stayed up late on the balcony." I nearly choked on my coffee. Maya's hand trembled as she picked up her fork. "It was intense," Maya said, looking directly at me. "We talked about a lot of things. Things I didn't expect." Mark laughed, blissfully unaware. "That's what happens when you two get a bottle of wine. You start solving the world's problems." "What was the big topic last night?" "Politics? Career moves? Honesty," Maya said. The word hung in the air like a guillotine. "We talked about how hard it is to be honest with yourself when you're stuck in a routine." Mark nodded thoughtfully. "I get that. That's why I'm glad Qley has you. You keep her grounded. You're the sister she never had." I felt like I was going to throw up. The sister she never had. That's how everyone saw us. That's how I saw us until 1 a.m. last night. "Mark, honey," I said, my voice cracking. "Could you actually run to the store now? We're out of orange juice, and I really want some with these pancakes." Mark looked at the half-full carton of OJ in the fridge. "We have plenty, Qley. It's pulp-free." I really wanted the one with pulp. I lied, my brain scrambling for any excuse to get him out of the room. Mark looked at me, then at Maya, and for a split second, I saw a flash of confusion in his eyes. He's not stupid. He knew something was off, but he's a fixer. He thought I was just being cranky from a hangover. All right, pulp it is. I'll be back in 10, he said, grabbing his keys. The second the front door clicked shut, the silence in the kitchen became deafening. Maya didn't eat. She pushed the plate away and stood up, pacing the small length of the kitchen. "What were you thinking, Qley?" she hissed, her voice a jagged whisper. "You almost let him hug me. Do you have any idea how guilty I feel?" I looked at him, and all I could think about was your hand on my neck. "I know, Maya. I'm sorry. Stop saying you're sorry. You've been leaning into this for months," she said, stopping in front of me. "The late-night texts, the way you look at me when we're out. I thought I was imagining it. I told myself I was being a bad friend for even thinking you felt that way. But last night proved I wasn't crazy." "Did you hate it?" I asked. It was a selfish question, a dangerous one, but I had to know. Maya looked away, her jaw tight. "That doesn't matter. What matters is that Mark is my friend too, and you're about to marry him. You're about to start a life with a man while you're harboring whatever this is for me. I don't know what it is," I cried out softly. "I just know that when I'm with him, I'm performing. When I'm with you, I'm breathing." Maya stepped closer, her eyes softening for a second. "Qley, you can't have both. You either tell him the truth and we see what happens, or you bury this and you never, ever touch me like that again. No more late nights. No more soulmate talk. We go back to being normal friends, or we don't be friends at all." I looked at the door. Mark would be back in minutes. He was going to walk in with a carton of juice and a smile, and he was going to ask what we decided about the photography stuff. "I can't lose you," I said. "Then you have to choose," Maya whispered. She leaned in, not to kiss me, but to whisper in my ear. "Because if you don't tell him, I will. I can't look him in the eye and pretend I didn't feel what I felt last night. I'm not a liar, Qley, even if you are." She pulled away, grabbed her bag, and walked out the back door just as Mark's car pulled into the driveway. Mark walked back into the kitchen, triumphantly holding a carton of high-pulp orange juice like it was a trophy. He didn't notice the empty chair where Maya had been sitting. He didn't notice that I was gripping the edge of the granite countertop so hard my fingernails were turning white. He just kissed the top of my head and said, "Where'd she go?" I wanted to show her the ring. My heart stopped. The ring. He had it in the house. The ring. I whispered, the room starting to spin. I wasn't going to wait for the dinner next week, Mark said, his voice dropping into that warm, intimate register he used when he was being vulnerable. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, velvet navy box. I was going to ask Maya to help me set up a photo shoot for us at the lake. I wanted her to capture the moment I asked you to be my wife. He opened the box. It was a classic solitaire diamond. Simple, elegant, exactly what a stable, happy version of Qley would want. "Qley, you're shaking," Mark said, his smile faltering. He set the juice on the counter and stepped toward me. "Is it too much? Is it the hangover? You've been acting so strange since you got home last night." The guilt wasn't a dull ache anymore. It was a physical weight crushing my lungs. I looked at the ring, then at the door Maya had just walked out of. I realized that if I said yes, I would be signing a contract to lie for the next 50 years. I would be a master file, living in a simulation of a happy marriage while the real me was screaming in the basement. "I can't, Mark," I breathed. "Can't what?" "Wait for the lake. We can do it right here." He laughed nervously, starting to drop to one knee. "Qley, I love you more than." "No," I shouted, stepping back. "Don't get down on your knee. Please, just stay standing." Mark froze. He looked at the ring, then at me, and the confusion in his eyes finally turned into a cold, sharp realization. The silence in the kitchen was broken only by the hum of the refrigerator. "What happened last night?" he asked. His voice was different now. The grill master was gone. This was a man who knew he was being played. I made a mistake," I said, tears finally blurring my vision. "Maya didn't come over to talk about photography. She came over because I kissed her, Mark. Last night, on the balcony." Mark didn't move. He didn't even blink. He just stared at me, the ring box still open in his hand. "You kissed." "Maya," he repeated. It sounded like he was trying to translate a foreign language. "My best friend? Your best friend? Since we were kids." It wasn't her, I sobbed. It was me. I started it. I've been feeling things, Mark, for a long time. And I try to bury it because I love you and I love our life, but it's not enough. I'm not enough. Mark looked at the door, then back at me. A flash of pure, unadulterated hurt crossed his face, followed quickly by a flicker of disgust. He snapped the ring box shut with a loud crack. "Is that why she couldn't look me in the eye?" he asked quietly. "Because you two were laughing at me while I was making you pancakes?" "We weren't laughing. She's devastated. She told me I had to tell you or she would." Mark laughed then, a dry, bitter sound that made me flinch. "So you're only telling me because you got caught. Because she has a conscience and you don't." He walked over to the trash can and tossed the velvet box inside. My heart shattered. "Mark, please. Don't," he said, holding up a hand. "I'm going to my brother's house. I want you and your stuff out of here by the time I get back tonight. I don't care where you go. Go to Maya's. See if she actually wants you, or if she just feels sorry for you." He grabbed his keys and walked out. The front door slammed so hard a picture frame on the hallway table fell over. It was a photo of the three of us at a music festival last summer. We looked so happy. The fallout. I didn't go to Maya's. I went to a motel. I texted Maya. I told him. He's gone. I'm sorry for everything. She didn't reply for 3 days. When she finally did, it wasn't a confession of love or a request to meet up. "Maya, I can't do this, Qley. I've lost Mark as a friend, and I've lost the version of you I thought I knew. Every time I look at you now, I see the look on his face when he found out. I need space. A lot of it. Don't call me. 6 months later. I live in a small studio apartment now. Mark and I haven't spoken since the day he moved his things out. I heard through friends that he sold the ring and used the money to go on a solo trip to Japan. He looks happy in his photos. Or, at least, he looks like he's healing. Maya moved to Portland. She didn't say goodbye. She just posted a photo of a moving truck on Instagram and blocked me. I'm in therapy now. I'm learning that you can't build a truth on top of a 20-year-old lie. I'm learning that sometimes you have to burn your whole life down just to figure out who you actually are. I still think about that kiss on the balcony. I think about the way the city lights looked and the way my heart finally felt like it was beating for a reason. I lost my boyfriend. I lost my best friend. I lost the perfect life everyone expected of me. But when I wake up in my tiny, quiet apartment, I don't have to perform anymore. For the first time in my life, the person in the mirror is actually me. And even if I'm alone, at least I'm not a lie.